And now that the racer has revealed that he's a big meanie head to the snail and literally nobody else, he suddenly acts like a huge jerk in front of the entire viewing world. Something he never did in any of his previous races. What the fuck? The big race at the end is embarrassing. All the cars have crashed and this snail is super close to the finish line, but oh no, he's lost his super speed. What does he do? He just gives up. Bro, you are this close and you have no competition right now. Are you fucking kidding me? He needs a pep talk from his brother to finish the race because this is a movie for babies. Literal fucking infants. Anyway, remember Jabba's palace? Remember the Rancor? Remember the Sarlacc pit? Remember Slave One? Oh, excuse me. Boba Fett's starship? Remember Tatooine in general? That was the planet from Star Wars movie that you liked, remember? The Star Wars? Remember Luke Skywalker? Remember Ahsoka? Remember Order 66? Hell yeah, I love Youngling Slaughter. R2-D2 showed up and I clapped. Remember the pod race and the Naboo starfighter and the pit droids? Whoa, look, it's Mando and Grogu. It's been so long since we've seen them. How nice that they're finally back after all these years. Remember Cobb Vanth? Remember Hutts? Remember the Pikes? Remember Gamorrean guards? Remember Droidicas? Remember Max motherfucking Rebo? There he is, it's Cad motherfucking Bane. You may now applaud. We did it. We brought him back for 15 whole minutes of screen time. Now he's dead, baby. Thanks for watching, fuckers. 5 out of 10. Mother of mercy, I hated the Grinch so much. I could not stand this disgusting piece of sanitized corporate slop with no ounce of personality or wit or charm whatsoever. The animation is literally the only thing worthy of praise in this empty fucking void of quote-unquote entertainment. It made me long for the days of the Jim Carrey Grinch, a movie I really didn't like, but at least I felt something watching that. Illumination's Grinch is empty and lifeless, completely devoid of anything worth talking about or remembering. The only cultural impact this movie had was when it arbitrarily became the poster boy for an infamous fake Smash Bros. Leak. Without that, there is no reason anyone would talk about this pathetic excuse for a feature film. Like in this version, he catches a reindeer, but then lets it go because its family shows up. And he never had a family, so he doesn't want to separate them. Oh no! The other Grinches would have been like tough shit and forced the reindeer to help, only trying to get him back with his family after he has the change of heart at the end. By having him do something completely selfless and kind in the middle of the movie, you basically destroyed the impact of the ending where he's supposed to do his first truly kind act, which, may I remind you, is the entire point of the story. It's like they were afraid to make him too mean or unlikable because they didn't think kids had long enough attention spans to make it to the end of their bloated, filler-coded bastardization of a classic story in order to see that he ends up good at the end. I have no idea how this studio made an entire film franchise about supervillains, and yet they can't even make the Grinch nasty or threatening. It's really fucking embarrassing. Do you think this commercial kept that framing device up or evolved the concept in some way? Who the fuck do you think you're kidding? Of course not. That would take effort. And why put effort into a literal WWE commercial? They just film it like any normal quote-unquote movie would be filmed. They could only be bothered to make like 12 character models for this commercial. The WWE stand-in animals are incredibly flat, boring characters because we can't do anything that paints any of them in a negative light because that would go against the purpose of this advertisement. But you know who we're perfectly fine with painting in a negative light? The fucking main character. Cody in this is insufferable, mainly because he straight up just is not the same character. He's an annoying prick who's overly obsessed with winning and being famous, even though the entire point of the first movie was that he learns that winning and being famous isn't important. He learned all that from his idol in a really compelling way. Oh, I'm sorry, what idol? Big Z? Never heard of him. Apparently this whole time, contrary to everything the first film tells you, Cody was never inspired to be an amazing surfer like Big Z. He was inspired by Penguin John Cena and his legion of super friends. In this commercial, Big Z might as well have never existed, and Cody's entire backstory and motivation as a character is thrown in the garbage. I have never seen a more perfect example of character assassination in my life. The writers of Game of Thrones could probably watch this commercial and say to themselves, well, at least we didn't fuck up that badly. I could tell 5 minutes into this ad that it was one of the worst things I've ever seen. But the thing that really solidified it was later in the movie, when they're sailing over lava and Cody goes out of his way to try and sabotage Tank. Which, in case you've seen the first movie, which these writers clearly did not, is the thing that Tank does to other surfers because he is the villain. But let's have our protagonist do the same thing in a much more dangerous scenario in the second installment after he's already learned a lesson in the first installment. And that valuable lesson he learned in the first movie was not, don't attempt to murder people in order to win a competition. Because that's something he already fucking knows! Surf's Up 2 makes Cars 2 look like The Empire Strikes Back, and it makes Earwig and the Witch look like Citizen Kane. Dear Evan Hansen? More like, dear God, it's so much better than this piece of fucking ass. I have not hated a product this much since Artemis Fowl, which, if you remember, is my actual least favorite movie of all time. This train wreck literally only exists so Sony could suck off these WWE stars while destroying everything the original Surf's Up had going for it. It has absolutely nothing to offer and should not be watched by anyone, regardless of if they like the original film or not. Vince McMahon fantasizes about drinking milk directly from a fish's udder. Yep, I could stop there, but fuck it. The bear goes to a circus and his animal buddies have to bust him out. But there's no urgency because he doesn't want to leave because he's horny for Lady Bear. So there's no tension and no stakes and no reason to watch the movie. We are 3 movies in and I still don't know why this deer has any friends, let alone a wife and kids. Why does anyone put up with open season? Talking about it is futile. It is unending misery and torment. After this experience, I don't know if I'll ever be whole again. Spending time with these shitty, tepid, boring, basic-ass animals has rotted my brain so thoroughly. And the first movie is literally the exact same film as Enchanted if you sucked it free of all of its charm. Suck. It's just the Smurfs dicking around with Neil Patrick Harris in various NYC locations, while Gargamel does a bunch of random bullshit, like becoming an anti-aging cream fashion designer for like 5 minutes, and then getting sent to prison, but he escapes with magic flies. And then the Smurfs are sad, but Barney cheers them up by showing them the wonder of Guitar Hero, and Google, and M&M's. Products are cool, kids. Purchase them now. Namari. Good lord, this character. But 6 years later, she's still threatening her and taunting her and exchanging cringeworthy quips. And have I mentioned yet how much I fucking hate this movie? Like, Sisu would still be alive if Raya had just blindly trusted that Namari wouldn't shoot her at point blank range while her finger was tightening on the trigger. I don't think that was her mistake. I think that was a reasonable fucking reaction. Namari broke their trust the moment she pulled out the crossbow, and she drove that trust even further into the ground the moment her finger tightened on the trigger. Namari claims the problem was that Raya didn't trust Sisu, and that Raya's as much to blame for Sisu's death as Namari is. What? You're seriously trying to guilt her? Bitch, put your fucking crossbow down then! Sisu was wrong to trust you! You betrayed her! The world is broken because of you! And if you actually cared about the rest of the world, you would let Raya restore them all, regardless of the consequences you would face! You dumbass! They have all 5 gem pieces, they just don't trust Namari enough to hand over their pieces, and for some incomprehensible reason, she doesn't trust them enough to hand over hers. And so, the first step is taken by Raya, who hands her gem piece to Namari. This is actually infuriating. Like, I can't believe this is the way the writers thought this scene should pan out. Namari doesn't even apologize for anything. Not for a single thing she did in the entire movie. Not for traumatizing Raya and taking everything from her. Not for destroying the entire world. Nothing. We get nothing out of her. Like, are you fucking serious? She put practically no work into making things right, and it's so infuriating. That somber scene in the original where we go from the cheery "a girl worth fighting for" to this desolate, destroyed village. The mood whiplash where no one talks because they're all in shock and we see that Li Shang's father is dead. Fuck that! Let's just randomly cut to the scene out of nowhere like it's nothing important. Let's just talk about this destruction and death, because that's more nuanced than silence. It should be the biggest deal thus far, but they treat it like it's nothing. They spend literally less than a minute on it. Fuck you. The writing for Mulan is so bland and the actress makes it worse. She's so bad. I really hope she's a better person in real life than she is an actress. Oh wait, it's dramatic. The score slaps. She suits up, she cuts her hair, she rides off. And the family realizes she's gone in the middle of this storm, which really heightens the tension. It's an amazing scene. But that! Now it just cuts to her with the armor on and her family wakes up in the morning to find her gone. That's so cinematic. Great fucking work, Disney. She baits the bad guys into shooting the mountain themselves. That really makes them look like a competent threat. Thank you, movie. Then they have the fucking gall to speak lyrics from the original movie, like, I don't care what she looks like, just what she cooks like, or tranquil as a forest, but on fire within. For fuck's sake, either you commit to the music or you don't. They try and force a connection between Mulan and the Switch by literally pulling that whole "we're not so different, you and I" bullshit out of their ass, which, holy f***, can that stupid line die already? If a movie is smart, they'll show us a parallel between the hero and the villain without telling us. They'll let us pick it up for ourselves. But who am I kidding? God forbid a Disney live-action remake encourage you to think. 95% of the movie, we just see her rudely ordering her new adopted daughter around. And yet, you're not rooting for Earwig to get back at her because Earwig is so insufferable. But you're not rooting for the witch lady either because she's a huge bitch. This movie is actual hell. At least Cars 2 didn't blatantly copy what came before it. At least it had good-looking animation. At least it actually finished its story. This movie abruptly ends out of nowhere, with none of the character conflicts actually resolved. Earwig successfully kerpranks the witch lady and gets both her and the Mandrake absolutely furious at her, with only 20 minutes left in the movie. She then goes into the Mandrake's private quarters without permission, finds out they were in a band with her mom, and now the Mandrake suddenly likes her. And so does the witch, who literally has not said a kind thing to her once throughout this entire movie. Suddenly, in the last 10 minutes of the film, it's a happily ever after now. 6 months pass and they all suddenly love each other for some reason, and everyone in the house is a slave to the spoiled brat Earwig, and her mom suddenly comes back with no explanation as to where she was or why she came back at all. Isn't that great? Fuck this movie. Its characters are horrendously unlikable. Its animation is insanely unpleasant. Its story is objectively unfinished. This is my least favorite animated movie of all time. He really wants this bell that has gems inside, because the writers don't know how bells work. So he steals the bell, and Quasimodo's like, oh no, you were using me, lady. And she's like, no, this is a misunderstanding. And God, I hate this. I hate this so much. I hate literally everything about this movie. Nothing about it is good. It is one of the most insultingly terrible experiences I've ever had in my life. Did I mention that Haley Joel Osment plays Phoebus and Esmeralda's kid?
That's nuts.
Who is a completely pointless character that only exists to get kidnapped in the third act. Imagine taking one of the richest and most thematically mature kids movies of all time and making a sequel that stands for and is about nothing. A completely empty and vile experience that should not be seen by anyone. He has a meltdown because she's taking care of this bird who can't fly. And he hates birds for some reason. Except then he realizes that birds can sing, and he's like, this bird is my prisoner forever. Get it? It's like a metaphor! Two of them have a weightless, tensionless dance battle, and eventually Megamind resorts to getting all the fish guys with the dehydration gun. Cool. Hey, wait, so he'll use it on these guys, but not the Doom Syndicates? Oh, how do I stop 4 villains at once? Shoot them with the dehydration gun! The movie never says that their superpowers are preventing them from being dehydrated, and it's not like any of them have Metro Man or Titan's super speed, so shoot them with the gun! Right now, they're distracted and dancing and everything. Or if not right now, you can isolate each one of them at some point because they all trust you. So shoot them with the gun! I feel like I'm losing my goddamn mind! This is so fucking shitty! I can't take it! Once again, it cannot be a difficult task to pretend you're meeting with each of them one-on-one and then shoot them with the fucking dehydration gun! It is the easiest solution in the whole damn world! What the is your problem? Megamind is all like, if I know Minion, he's cleverly slipped through the lair's defenses. Take a wild fucking guess what it's gonna cut to after he says that. You'll never believe it. Minion didn't slip through the layers defenses. That's so funny. That's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Oh my god, this movie just keeps hitting the home runs. Oh boy. The ends. Oh, excuse me, it's not the end. We have to have a post 2 seconds of credit stinger where the Doom Syndicate is in prison and greeted by a floating brain called Machiavellian, the guy who taught Megamind everything he knows about evil. Hey, wait a second, he grew up in prison and learned it all there. What are you fucking talking about? Just stop! He just has to become an influencer himself. Thank God Stupid Kid is here to do that for him. I don't know if I made this clear, but I hate this character so much. Such a bland and annoying insert for all the kids at home to relate to. She's cool and she knows how to internet and stuff. She teaches Megamind about the internet, and he doesn't know anything. Not even what trolling is. Minion is laughing at a really old meme. He even references Chocolate Rain. How do you do, fellow kids? Or I would, if not for one teeny tiny little flaw with this guy's plan. His name is Machiavellian. Hello? Machiavellian is your new hero. Are these people fucking stupid? Is he fucking stupid? Just name yourself anything else. Come on. And then they cut Good For You, the song where Heidi and Evan's friends actually call him out on his bullshit. Because God forbid we call out the godlike performer that is Ben Platt. I'm sorry. You're right. If you're going to cut out the most important musical number plot-wise, the one that acknowledges that Evan Hansen is a bad person, then you're basically absolving him of his heinous actions. But what do you expect from a Ben Platt vanity project? A film that only exists because this performance is too good to be stuck in the filthy musical version. It needs a big budget Hollywood release. The world needs to see how beautiful and amazing Mark Platt's son is. How are the songs, by the way? Oh, they're all shit. Thanks for asking. So now the two don't start dating until Only Us. But they don't change the lyrics of the song, so Zoe still sings as if they're already dating. What? The song makes no sense now. What are you talking about? And So Big, So Small is absolute shit. Not just because Julianne Moore seems more bored than anything, but because it keeps awkwardly cutting to Ben Platt's face when the focus should be entirely on Heidi. This fucking movie is making me lose my mind. Practically everything about it is wrong on some level. If you've never seen the original Dear Evan Hansen, you will hate this movie and the main character and the plot and the 13 Reasons Why ass depiction of mental illness it portrays. If you've seen and enjoyed the original musical, you will hate how thoroughly it butchers every single character and song. I could literally make a segment for all 8 of the characters, breaking down exactly how this movie completely failed all of them. And I will, at a later date. I can safely say that I have not hated a movie this much since Artemis Fowl. Do you think this story is one of the most compelling tales ever told by Walt Disney Animation Studios? They're just walking! It's just dinosaurs walking to a place for 80 minutes. All as the most cliche characters ever go through the most cliche dialogue and arcs ever. And I hate to say this because I know this animation was state of the art when it came out, but God, nowadays this is the single ugliest looking Disney film. All the character models and a lot of the environments just look like complete shit. It's so boring. There's nothing interesting to look at. There's no interesting characters. There's no interesting story. How do you make a film about dinosaurs, one of the objectively coolest things to ever exist, this dull and monotonous? I can't even really say that I hate this movie, because that implies that I have any passionate feelings about it at all. Oh yeah, and that pig that was so important in the first half of the movie? Yeah, they forget that was a thing too. The Horned King doesn't need it. He just follows the main party and then they find the cauldron and then he gets it from them. So all the buildup about the pig was completely pointless. Okay. Who the fuck wrote this movie? I haven't even gotten to the comic relief, who is neither comic nor a relief to see. This annoying little shit only exists to be annoying and a little shit. He has the most irritating voice and he accomplishes nothing throughout the movie until the end where he's supposed to have this dramatic sacrifice. And I'll give the movie this, it was the only time I felt any joy watching it. I cheered when that little cum stain fell into the cauldron and died. And I audibly groaned when the movie brought him back at the end because of course it did. Nothing matters. This movie fucking sucks. I'm sorry.
Where's the sunset? Are you fucking kidding me? It's the one thing I expected this remake to have. The whole point of Sunset Wilds is that the sun fucking sets. It's like the one thing it knows how to do. The sun not only set in the GBA version of this track, but it also set in the Mario Kart Tour version of this track. You know, the mobile phone game that Mario Kart 8 ported the Booster Course Pass tracks over from. So if they could achieve this effect on a 32-bit handheld system and a mobile phone game, why in the sweet name of Shigeru Miyamoto could they not achieve this effect in an HD remake of this track released in the year of our Lord 2023 as a DLC edition to the 6th highest grossing video game of all time? But the lighting system in Mario Kart 8 doesn't allow the sun to dynamically set. Are you fucking stupid? Are you implying that the experienced programmers at Nintendo could not find a workaround for this in order to keep the most crucial gimmick intact for one of the most popular courses from Mario Kart Super Circuit? If they knew they couldn't make this key element of Sunset Wilds work, then why the did they decide to bring this course back? I would have sooner taken any other remake of any other course over this absolute bastardization of one of my favorite GBA tracks. I hate this remake more than words could possibly express, and I never elect to play on it under any circumstances. You just drive through the track normally and hope somebody passes you in the opposite direction so you can hit them with an item. That's what the gameplay on this course amounts to. How was this ever deemed acceptable to release? I don't understand! And that's not even the worst course? What's more terrible than trying to battle on a figure 8? Disappointment in the game of life. Toad's Turnpike. Playing battle mode on this map might genuinely be the single worst gameplay experience in Mario Kart history. I can't think of anything that compares to the sheer agony of not being able to spot where your fellow players are because some dumbass Moo Moo Meadows truck is in your goddamn way. The obstacles on this course not only hinder your chances of keeping your balloons, but they also hinder your chances of ever finding anyone else to do battle with. It is the absolute worst. The sorriest excuse for a battle map ever. To the point where I don't even know if F tier accurately captures my feelings. This shit belongs in G tier. Congratulations, Toad's Turnpike.